51. Okay. I, I'm trying to get the swing of this here. This new system is just not working quite the same as the old one did, and it's embarrassing enough to make a video. So it's kind of odd to be talking to the screen again because it's been quite a few days while I waited for this thing to function properly so that I could actually make it work, because like it wasn't working for days and days. So here we go. I get over my nervousness and my shyness and what little sense of pride I may have had left, any sense of dignity. I wanted to talk for just a couple of minutes today about the opportunities that you might have in your area that you may not be noticing or you may not think of. We have some agricultural activity going on in our area, and so there are some opportunities here and there to do gleaning in the fields. And the one that I have seen in my area is one of the ladies I go to church with. I'm really sorry, my voice is not good today. It's a little hoarse. She was able to get all the pickling cucumbers that she wanted. She could have made hundreds of quarts of pickles because the machines, I think, only pick up cucumbers of a certain size, and they reject the ones that are too big or too small. I think that's how it works. So she was able to get buckets and buckets of cucumbers for pickling. So you might want to check with the cooperative extension agency in your area to see, or ask around with the farmers in your area, or maybe ask at church, or maybe go to the local hardware or the granaries or places in your area that would know who has what or who's growing what. I remember one year, many years ago, when I was canning purple beets, and I picked up the sugar beets fall off the top of the big open trucks that they're like gravel trucks, I guess. Well, they're bigger than that carry the sugar beets to the factory. And so I picked up a stray one day. Now this thing says it's quit, and I don't know if it's going to keep going or not keep going. It's okay, it was stuck. I picked up a stray sugar beet that fell off the truck and cut the peel off of it. I wanted to see what they were like, and this one was didn't belong to anybody at that point. I don't think it was like not near any other beets where it could get rescued. And so I took it and washed it and cut the skin off of it and chopped it up and put it in with my regular beets, and just kind of had fun experimenting with that. So there may be things in your area that you can make arrangements to glean, or you may want to ask at church and see if there's somebody who has fruit trees or grape vines that they aren't going to be able to take care of it all themselves as far as to process it. And in that situation, what you might want to do is offer to split it down the middle. Like if somebody has grapevines and they can't, you could either buy the grapes, or you could offer to come over and pick the grapes, which doesn't take very long. You just need a pair of like wire cutters to snap, or scissors really. Wire cutters are nice to snap the grapes right off the main vine. And if you don't have time to do the grape juice or grape jam or whatever you want to make out of it, at that point you could also put the grapes in your freezer, as many as would fit. And my voice is terrible, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was that bad today. You could take grapes and freeze them, and then when you have the opportunity, you could go back and can them into grape juice, and then you could give half of them to the person that you got the grapes from. Same thing with, well, you could really, if you don't already have an organ, or I can't talk today. If you don't have an organized system for conveying this information, you can do this before you go to church, or any other, doesn't have to be a church group, any other community group that you're a part of. Try to set up an exchange of information so that someone who has extra things can not necessarily just always give it away, but you could barter the processing of it. Grape juice is probably the simplest, easiest, fastest one because it takes almost no effort and no time to do. Jars, 6 jars. So you could offer to can grapes. You could freeze them for later. You could take them out in December, January, February, whenever, and do your grape juice then. You could glean fields, and I'm trying to think what other ones. Especially everything kind of comes in at once. The garden is coming to an end. The tomatoes are in season, at least where we live, at the same time that the peaches and pears are on, and then the grapes come in right about that same time or a little bit later. And so it's all kind of coming in at once, and you might save somebody from having to let it go to waste, and try to make an effort if you can to not let your own things go to waste. I've been guilty of that for more times than I'd like to think about. There's a story on this channel about how I kept thinking I was going to cut up my watermelon and freeze it. I had very successful watermelons one year when we had them in the garden, and ended up not getting to it. So instead of sharing the watermelon, my watermelons exploded and they weren't any good for anybody. I had them, kept them in the bathtub, not with water in it. We had an extra bathtub, so I kept thinking, oh, I'll get to that, and never did. So the other thing I wanted to mention was we really should be keeping an eye out for things that could have second uses, not necessarily recycling, but sort of recycling. And I'd like to get a little graphic here for a minute. So this is your warning. It could get a little more graphic than you're in the mood for right now. I think there are many things that fall into this category, but socks was the one that I had in mind. Was that if you're trying to conserve paper products and you can only get your hands on so many, either for reasons of not having enough money or reasons of shortages, socks could serve for lots of purposes. A clean sock could be used to wipe a baby's face when you're trying to feed the baby. It could be used in place of diaper wipes and thrown in, if you had to use cloth diapers, could be thrown in with the diapers. For little girls or bigger girls, it could be used in place of toilet paper, just to dry a few little drips. and the rest, that's the graphic part. So the graphic part is over with. I don't think you would want to be, I guess what I'm trying to say is you could conserve your paper products for when it really counts, and when you're just trying to dab a few little drips, then you would be able to stretch your paper products a lot further than would normally be. I really shouldn't do this video over at this point because that's going to be a little too embarrassing, but actually was not ready to make this video today, but when I found that it worked, I figured I better get in the groove and get it in motion again. So anyway, gleaning fields in your area, check with your cooperative extension agency, check at church. You might want to put a little ad in the newspaper. I will do this and this and this, can your excess fruits or your juice, grape juice, or you can even offer to pick raspberries and split the raspberries if somebody has raspberry bushes. You could, and other things that come in. You might want to think about bartering your canning services, because there might be people who would be willing to buy the ingredients for canned goods if you would put it up and give them half, or however you want to work the details out. And especially for homemade soups and so forth. One thing I really miss canning, because I haven't been able to do canning in quite a few years now, but one thing I really miss canning is cabbage soup, and it took me a long time until I figured out it was better with burger in it. You put hamburger, you could put in any kind of meat you wanted to, sausage, and you could put any kind of meat in there that you wanted to, but beef chunks, beef, you could put ham or beef or whatever in it. But I used to do cabbage soup with tomatoes out of the garden, onions out of the garden, celery, cabbage, carrots. And so it's got lots of Well, I'm hoping this is still recording because it's telling me it's not. I hope it didn't ditch the whole video. It says to reconnect. Something went wrong. Try to reconnect. So I'm going to pretend it's working and see what happens here. Maybe the picture will come back because it's still clicking the second time. So burger and all those vegetables, carrots, onions, celery, so forth. Could put green pepper in there and it would just be enormously nutritious. So you might be able to get somebody who would be willing to foot the cost. Now I can't tell how goofy my face looks. Foot the cost of the ingredients, and then you could share the canned goods. Actually, this might not be working at all. We'll have to see here. It's got a cancel button. Huh. It's still clicking away the seconds. My, this is going to be interesting. There's no stop button here now. So just examine your options. I'm going to keep talking in case this actually is publishable. But examine your options and see what you think or what your opportunities might be in your area. I'm really sorry. I'm not only tongue twisted, but my voice is bad today, but I'm trying to get used to this now. Trying to think of any other opportunities. There's all kinds of things I guess you could barter for garden produce. If somebody has produce in their garden that they're not going to be using, you might want to offer to babysit or to pet sit or to, I mean, there's all kinds of things you could involve, volunteer to do in exchange for the garden produce. So don't let a lack of money stop you, because although it's a hindrance not to have the money you might like to have to get going with your projects, it's not a total obstacle. So please don't let the money get in the way. And look for, especially now, you're getting into July. This video is being made the 2nd of July. We're getting into the harvest season, and once it's over, it's going to be over for a while. Our opportunities are going to be limited once it's gone. So make a list and check it twice so you can glean the fields and fill your shelves. Make a list and check it twice so you can eat more than just beans and just rice. And you might be the means of blessing a number of people. You might want to set up a community organization where people can come together to, you know, decide what they want to. Somebody could even make a list and say, I would be willing to do this and this and this and this and this, you know. Maybe even do Christmas shopping for somebody or wrap Christmas gifts. I mean, the ideas are just really endless as to what you can do in exchange for garden produce. But the garden produce is only going to, oops, I should probably put my head where you can see it. The garden produce is only going to be here for a certain amount of time, and when it's gone, it's gone. So let's think hard about it and see how many people we can help to beef up their shelves. And I wish you every good thing, and God bless your efforts to prepare. And I hope the next video won't be quite so rough, but as I said, I couldn't get on here for days and days, so I was trying to get back in the groove again. And we would like to welcome all the new people. There's several new ones in the last few days, and please participate and put comments down, but please don't critique the job that I do on these videos, because it's just like all I can do to get on here and do this. And so I'm just trying to spread the information. The earliest videos on the whole list are the ones that have all the main basic information, so you want to go back and check those for how to dry pack in canning jars, how to dry pack in spaghetti sauce jars, how to dry pack in 2-liter bottles. All the basic stuff is in the first 6 months. So scroll back to the beginning of the list and take a look there. And I also would like to recommend Cheaper Than a Divorce, because I rewatched it before I sent it to a friend today, and that's, I think, a very timely, applicable video. And also the Great Depression video 5 is one of my favorites, because it has all the directions for a white French bread recipe that you cannot screw up, and that would be a great, valuable asset. I did not put the donuts on here, which is about the time that this whole system went down, and they put the new one up. It said something went wrong. I hope it's still recording. Anyways, I didn't finish the donut thing, and I will go into that at a later date. So take care. Thank you for your patience. Just please don't critique the job I did, because I'm like so tenderhearted. Thanks. God bless. Bye.